Hey, guess what, Richard?
Why?
We're live. We're having a little side. We be side questiating. That's the word.
Side questing. Side quest today.
Side questiating. It's like side questing, but it's more of a state of mind.
Yep. Hang on, I gotta go mute. I gotta go mute the YouTube side. Hang on a second.
Well, no, it's fine. We be all watching it together.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are joining us, we're just having we're having some fun today. We're taking another break from the book. We are enjoying this live show that was on Saturday that Richard got to go be a part of. You can see him sitting in the back with his hat backwards there. This is playing currently over on Set Up by Marshall on his channel. The link's in the chat if you want to check it out, because we'll drop it down here in a minute. We'll go onto our usual show. But I thought, what the hell? We were watching this backstage. Let's just go live. And everybody wants to rule the world. I think that fits into our theme for today.
One of my secret favorite bands back in the metal 80 days was this band right here.
Why was it secret?
Oh, because I was a metalhead. You couldn't like this new wave shit. Yeah, I got so many stories about my secret childhood that none of my rocker friends knew about.
Oh.
Listening to disco, bought the album Southern Nights. Oh, yeah.
Oh, the things we learn. The things that we learn. This is so good. Like, Richard was playing this for me backstage. I was just rocking out. I'm over in the chat right now, too. Set Up by Marshall. I'm the all caps girl mostly, because I am just really enjoying jamming out. Great song for our intro today. I hope that we will be seeing some likes of Robbie today, possibly.
I hope so.
Oh, Indy popped in. Hi, Indy.
I see Indy out there. Hi, Indy. Good to see you. Thanks for your duplicity in being both here and at Marshall's.
I know. It's a little bit like of the Inception. If you look real close, you can see Indy's comments over there as well as comments here.
Yep. Whoops. Sorry. There. Accidentally clicked mute.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Oh, man. So you are live. Everybody's still very confused about whether or not he's live or not live. It's a live show being streamed as a premiere on a live. Listen,
I'm in two places at the same time.
Inception is real. It's a thing. We're good.
Yeah, their entire set is like this. There's no.
I'm like,
there's just no bad songs.
There's no bad songs. There's no bad songs. I should have you pull it down so we can start our show, but I'm gonna.
Yep. And if you're like us and you're watching both shows, if you're watching the chat over there, Janice Lala just chimed in. Great songs. I mean, it's just. And yeah, there's Mr. Stingle. Hello, brother. Good to see you. Good to see Robbie Stingle in the house.
Beavers have entered the chat, folks. Beavers
yes,
have entered the chat.
And I found out the story behind Beavers. Now, I won't tell that story here because that'll be Robbie's deal someday when Robbie's ready to tell his story. But I found out the story behind the Beavers. Yep. So.
Listen. There's no business like beaver business.
That's right.
Like no business I know. Well, what a great weekend you had. Like sometimes you just have to like live life, right?
Oh yeah. And that's what I said earlier. It's just about participating in the possibilities. I could have been a stick in the mud and stayed home.
Yeah, you could have been like, I don't want.
With my stayed home with my pride is basically what I'm saying. Well, I can't afford to. Fuck that. I went and was with my friends. They're happy to do it.
My boyfriend said one of the wisest things to me, and that was, he says, there's this. My grandma firmly believed in paying tithes to the church, and I'm not much of a church person, and so I pay tithes to my friends. I give 10% of my income to the people I love the most to be able to have experiences with them.
Yeah.
And I think I was like, so wise man. He's a very wise
Yes.
man. He's my very
Yes.
favorite human. And
Tell
that's
your
why.
boyfriend I like him more now. I liked him before, but now I like him more. So let him know that because I know it's important to him.
Yeah, he needs to hear that. He needs to hear that.
That's so cool.
He's recovering from. Well, anyway.
And I'm gonna say it again. If you look behind me, the man in the white shirt sitting behind me in this is Mark Tanner from Australia, who also has channel and is a musician and yada yada. It just list goes on and on and on. I was surrounded by so much talent this weekend.
He flew in all the way from Australia. I didn't.
Yeah,
know that.
he is
That's
on.
Crazy.
He flew into Portland from the UK, but he flew from Australia to the UK first.
Not a lot of direct flights.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Let's just be real here.
Yeah, no, he flew from Australia to the UK first, but he did have a direct flight into PDX from the UK.
From Britain, from UK.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I think I'm gonna leave the chat open over here on the other channel, but let's get into it. We're
Yeah,
7 minutes
that's
in.
cool.
This was our thing. This is that.
I'm gonna turn this down so it's just a little bit of background stuff because we're already getting copyright claims, and that's okay. I don't want to turn it off completely. Oh well, they're how good they are, and they're playing these covers. Yeah, I'll bet you get copyright claims on this, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about that.
What we'll do is we'll do this. Let's see. Let's pop this.
We can
up.
always come back and mute this, and then the claims go away. But I don't want to shut it down completely.
Oh, fair. Okay. I wonder if I can.
So, like I said, they'll send you the email. It says copyright claims, and you can take action. And one of the things will be to mute this background.
Yeah. I want to do. Let's see this. Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah, we got to figure out the right setup, huh?
Yeah, there's so many fucking options here. Well, there's that. I've reached the... You know what? Stop. I'll just delete some of them. Here. There, we'll have it playing.
There you go. That works.
Yeah, that'll work.
Perfect.
That'll work.
There you go.
That'll
Sweet.
work.
So, what do you think is better? Living life or existing? I'm just going to throw that out there. And you
What's your
can
definition
mention
of
it in the
existing?
chat, too.
What's the definition of existing?
You don't really try anything new. You just get up, eat breakfast, take a shit, have a cigarette. Just going through the motions. That's what I consider that. You're not
Both and.
really. Yeah.
Both and, because sometimes existing gets you to the points in your life where you can live it again. Sometimes you have to exist in order to get to where you get to live it again, and that's
it did.
Some days
But the difference between the two, because all of this has changed for me so rapidly from before existing to this now, that process is available to anyone. And I didn't know that before.
Yeah, I think that you can enjoy the quote unquote just existing, because I don't think there's anything just about it. And I'm with Robbie on this one. Sometimes existing is all you can do. Sometimes it's all.
Well, that's
you can
why
do.
we have these discussions.
And I think that enjoying the existing part is kind of like being here now, right? It's like the presence of it, and like you can be just existing and enjoying that. And I think that has to be the key sometimes. Sometimes you're going
you may not
through
be
the
as happy
motions.
as you could be, but it's not woe is me, my life is shit either.
Right. And you don't have to be positive, this is amazing. That's why I put what I put up there. It's listen, peace, love, and positivity, but also sometimes we live in discord, dismay, and disillusionment, and that's okay too, because that's it you have to have both in order to have the human experience.
Completely
and
agree.
I've really been on this kick of just letting it all in, and having it having both things be true at the same time. I'm doing this program with my daughter where we're
Robbie, you are right. Happy is relative, just like everyone has their own version of truth.
You can be relatively happy.
That is 100%.
Without being positive. You can just be relatively happy. It's fine.
But it's well, from Robbie, I'm taking that as a positive because Robbie and I are personal friends and we talk privately.
Yeah.
So yeah, see, exactly. That's what we talked about. But the fact is that if it's not really important at the moment, it doesn't mean that you can change your mind and make it important at a later moment, at a later time, to change the direction. You follow me on that?
No, say what I did. I did, but I kind of just one more time.
Okay. Happy not being important in the moment. You still have to remain open to the possibility of it being important in the future.
Oh, yeah. And also there's a chance that moment that you weren't happy in, when you look back, you go, oh, I actually really learned something there. And that can make
Exactly.
And because again, we'll go back to this idea that we don't retrieve memories, we recreate them. And so you have the possibility of every time you recreate a memory that you can recreate it through a different emotional lens. And that's the difference between kind of taking, so the difference between, not the words I was looking for. So I've been studying this dialectical behavioral therapy, right? And,
you mentioned this.
Yes, and the truth of the matter is that I can't just like take the dialectical behavioral therapy at its face value as if this is a thing and this is what we're doing and there's nothing behind it, there's no substance, there's no history to it, whatever. I was like, well, first of all, what the hell does dialectical mean?
No. That'd be my question too, because I do not know the definition of that word.
Dialectical. So dialectical means let's see. Let me open another tab here because I am in the mood to have 57.
Damn it, I got to open another one now.
Yeah. Right. Just whatever. I'm just going to roll with it. I generally don't believe in having more than one or two tabs open at a time, but we just be doing that today. Definition. Dialectical is relating to the logical discussion of ideas and opinions, and it's concerned with or acting through opposing forces, okay? So dialectical is, for all intents and purposes, also and, which if you watch this show for any amount of time, this is something that I very much believe in. Like, more than one thing can be true. More than one thing can be true at the same time.
Yeah, we just talked about this last week, and everybody having their own version of truth. Right. This fits perfectly into that scenario.
It's a side quest, but it is a quest. It means it has a beginning, middle, and end. And so we are going to be questiating on through this. The two opposing things being true at once.
I used to drink tab.
Yep. I have a hard time drinking these tabs because they get a little gritty from the screen, chewing on it. Anyway, so there was the definition, and then I was like, okay, well, there's dialectical behavioral therapy, and then I was watching this YouTube channel about the history of dialectical behavioral therapy because I be history eating. Because that's what I do. I'm like, well, where did this thing start and where does it end, and how did we get to where we are, where we're using this as a therapy to treat borderline personality disorder, and what are all the blah, blah, blah. So like there's a lady going into the deep dive of the creator of dialectical behavioral therapy and how it was developed kind of from cognitive behavioral therapy, which cognitive behavioral therapy is kind of this idea of like you just take a thought and you look at it and you're like, okay, if I change my thought, then I'm going to change my outcome. I'm going to change my results in my life because, like, I'm solving a problem just by looking at this one thought. Changing that thought changes the behavior, changes the outcome sort of process, right? Well, people who are severely depressed and filled with, like, repetitive, like, suicidal ideation, you can't go into that situation as a therapist and approach them in that manner. Why? Because they're like, fuck you. You don't know the problems. You don't know. You don't know the trouble I've seen. And then you try to go into it with like this idea of radical acceptance, and they're like, well, but my life sucks. I don't want to accept it the way it is. I want to also change it. So that's when this idea of dialectics kind of came to fruition, because this person who created this therapy was trying to figure out in her clinicals like how to kind of incorporate these things. And then she was like, well, I just have to make like a whole new thing. And so she was trying to find this juxtaposition, and it was actually her secretary at the time who was typing up her notes, because this was back in the 80s and they were typing up notes. And she's like, well, my husband is a philosophy major somewhere, I don't remember where. It's a philosophy major, and it sounds like you're talking about this idea of dialectic philosophy. And I was like, oh! So I had to pause the video and I had to go right over to the Googles again. And I looked up dialectical philosophers, and one of the primary dialectical philosophers is George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. And I love Hegel. Hegel has like really like insightful things. And at the end of the day, the core concepts of dialectical philosophy is a philosophical approach that emphasizes the importance of contradictions and their resolution in understanding reality. It involves examining opposing viewpoints that arrive at more comprehensive understanding of things. Let me try that again because I kind of must.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a couple of pauses that made that weird.
I'm going to double tap. I'm going to double tap real quick and say that again. Dialectical philosophy is a philosophical approach that emphasizes the importance of contradictions and their resolution in understanding reality. It involves examining opposing viewpoints to arrive at a more comprehensive understanding.
That's still a mouthful of words. Woo!
It is. Those are words. They are all, every single one of them are words. You are correct. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit. So there's the core concepts of dialectical philosophy is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So again, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. It's this idea of like you have a thought, you have the anti-thought, and then you try to figure out how to fuse those to come to a new understanding from the opposing thoughts. Okay, so that's within yourself, in a conversation with people, whatever it is. Okay, so like you said, peace, love, and understanding, and I was like discord, dismay, and disillusionment. So like, where do you have, what's the center of that? What's the synthesis of those things? Well, I would argue and say the synthesis of those two things is like not a compromise of those two things, but rather. Instead of 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 - 1 is 0, it's more like what is the greater sum of those two parts, and that would be the human experience. Peace, love, and positivity, discord, dismay, and disillusionment is, when you mash those together, is the human experience. All of those things.
I see where that fits now. I see where that fits now. That breaks it down pretty good.
Yeah, the thesis is: should we live in peace, love, and positivity, or should we live in discord, dismay, or disillusionment? And the answer is all of that.
All of that. Yeah.
All of that. That is the wise mind way of looking at that. It's not.
And I've had those times. I've had those times my own. You know, on top of the world 10, 12 years ago. Then the heart trouble and the depression and everything else. And there may have been some depression before that I'm not even aware of, because there was enough positivity happening that it overshadowed it with no. But then once that was gone, my identity was wrapped up in my job.
Yeah.
When I couldn't work anymore, I had no identity and therefore no worth in my mind.
Yeah.
It was a dark time.
And it's not your fault. That was just the first core concept. We've got 3 more to cover, but it's not your fault, because we are conditioned as humans to especially men, to identify who we are through the work that we do. Women are conditioned to identify through the children that we raised. If we do not have the children or put that as our number one identity, what do you do? Well, I'm a mother. Well, what do you do? Well, I work at XYZ. If we don't have these answers, in a lot of ways, we're ostracized. People don't understand us. They're like, well,
do you think that's a social thing?
It's a social thing. It's a social thing, and it's evolutionary science.
Things to ponder later.
It's a social thing because, like, I mean, we've evolved from hunter-gatherers, you know? Like, we don't really have much of a choice for how we've evolved. It is what it is. And
Thank you, Robbie.
We have a hard time breaking out of these sort of socially constructed norms. You know, even though women are now able to own property and go to work, we still are asked to identify as mothers first. And if we're not mothers, and there's a lot of the generation coming up behind me.
You're either mothers or you're sex symbols. There's really not much in between those two things in modern media times in life.
And the patriarchy does not let the two mix.
Well, it wasn't even a political statement. Anybody with half a brain and common sense can see
that's how we're treated.
Yeah.
But also, as men, you are asked to be providers and strength. Therefore, addressing your emotions is considered weak and undesirable. Even to women who are like, down with the patriarchy. Okay? Like, it is so ingrained in us.
But she's less attracted to the man that's not masculine, for lack of a better thing, than the guy who's more...
Listen,
not feminine, but effeminate. You know,
I don't want to date a dude who's too much in his feelings. I want him to be able to talk about him like a healthy human, but I also want him to be masculine. You know, and what does it mean to be a whole human, right? What does it mean to be a whole human and not identify by our genders, right?
Right.
Which is a big conversation about trans and like I don't believe in allowing children to like change their physical, but I understand the identity crisis that we're having today because we're trying to figure out as humans.
They need the help with that. Absolutely, they need the help.
As a whole
with
race,
that.
we are known as
Swing.
humans to overcompensate for shit.
Yep.
And we do it on an individual level and we do it as a society as well. And I'm not saying that to say that people should not identify as different from their biological gender.
Right.
I'm saying that to say that it should not matter so much. And these people who are saying, I am neither, is fine with me.
Yeah.
Now, I have a hard time changing the language in which I address people because we're conditioned to address people in a certain way.
Exactly. It's great. That's a long-term change. That's a long-term change.
And I fully expect to be corrected, but I can't hold that against people because in so many ways we do need to find.
No, I completely agree with that. I completely agree.
Because as a society,
well, I mean, there's a reason this is on my wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I need to say much more. And I support my friends. Whether I participate in anything they do doesn't have anything to do with that. So I fully understand with that.
How healthy, and I do think that in every movement there is toxicity as well as positivity that comes out of it. There's a lot of people who use it, who weaponize it, right? And that can be weaponized. You know, and that's not what we're speaking of here. What we're speaking of is this idea that if we ungender ourselves, there is a chance we can come out the other side as a society where I don't have to identify as a mother and you don't have to identify as a provider, but we are just humans. We are just humans. And that's what will come out the other side of the society. And it's going to be messy because things often are.
Yeah, we're humans.
Often are. Because
we are
both things can be true. Because both things can be true, right?
Yep. If you wonder about that both things can be true, you can go back to last week's show. We talked about that last week.
We did. And I think this is something that people who... whether or not you're engaging in some sort of therapy for yourself or whether or not you're just a thinker or a doer, it doesn't matter. I think that this idea of dialectical thinking should be explored personally or asking yourself these questions. And honestly, when I discovered this therapy and then dug into its roots and dug into its development and dug into the dialectical philosophy, I was like, we also need more of this in our lives. Right now, more than ever, we need this idea. More than ever, because we can have these, and that does not mean compromise. And I think that is really important. Part of dialectical therapy is they use this idea of wise mind. And again, we have to realize, because pop culture and pop therapy personalities will try to make this into a thing where it's like your monkey brain or your emotional brain is at odds with your reasonable, prefrontal cortex. And structurally speaking, that is not true. We know this because we went through the book about, Lisa Feldman Barrett. She said, scientifically speaking, those are not real things. They're not real things. However, this idea of your logical mind in battle with your emotional mind is a useful way to envision what is going on. And then where they overlap, think of like a Venn diagram, right, where the two circles overlap. In the center is your wise mind, right? It's how you make the best decisions that are truest to yourself. And that doesn't mean that everybody always exists in their wise mind, because that is also not feasible to always be there. But kind of... Robbie, so distracting. Stick with me, monkeys.
But funny.
Stick with me.
But funny AF.
Also true. Robbie Stingle's chat summaries are so much better than ChatGPT's. I'm just saying. Okay, so you have this idea of like this your emotional identity and your logical identity. Let's call them identities so that people do not mistake them for actual parts of your brain and actual brain structures, because we know, since we've been in this space that we've been in, that is empirically not true. It's not true that those two brain structures do not exist. But if you think about it as an identity sort of thing, and where they overlap is in a wise mind, which is an identity that's going to help you make better decisions, help you live a better human experience, and allow you to have behaviors that are more desirable and more useful. Again, useful, not positive or negative, but more useful to you in that moment, okay?
Sure.
So I loved this analogy that was made, and that is you're walking past the pet store, right? And in the pet store, you see, and just because I'm reading the room and I know our audience, you see a bunch of kittens. I would have said dogs, but because it's you and Robbie, I'm going to say kittens. Kittens it is. Okay, you see a bunch of kittens, and like your emotional brain is like, oh, the kittens. I want, it's a dozen kittens. I want all these kittens. I want a dozen kittens, right? Oh, they would just be so happy, and they would play together, and I would cuddle them, and I'd love them, and think, oh, there's kittens. There's a pile of kittens on me. I love kittens, right? Who doesn't love kittens?
Right.
And your logical brain is like, however, taking care of kittens is a lot of responsibility. You have to feed them, you have to vet bill, you have to make sure that you have space for them, and then you have to, all the poop you have to clean up and all the things, and the kitten litter box training, like, oh, what a nightmare. No kittens ever, no kittens. It's too much. I'm going to make a good decision. I'm not going to get the kittens. No kittens, right?
Yeah.
But your wise mind wouldn't compromise. Because a compromise would be like, well, only 6 kittens. So.
Right, exactly.
That's not a wise decision for who you are right now. But the wise mind would say, I do want a new kitten. So what does that look like? Well, Richard, it looks like fostering kittens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Robbie, it looks like having one kitten that you love very much. And figuring out how to make that work. So that's the wise mind. It's not compromising. It's not beating one or the other out. It's not flat out ignoring how you feel about kittens emotionally. And it's not just focusing on the logical things. Maybe it's getting a kitten before you're ready, but then you make yourself ready for that kitten. Or you figure out a way to have kittens and be ready for them.
Right.
That is your wise mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so your decision, Richard, to have foster kittens when you couldn't have a kitten of your own is fulfilling the same sort of thing that taking home these dozen kittens or half dozen kittens or just one kitten would fulfill for you in a way that you are able to sustain, and it honors both sides of you. The sum of its parts, you came to a decision where the sum of its parts, logical versus emotional, you came to a better understanding of what you needed and made a wise decision from that place. And that's the basis of dialectical thinking and dialectical behavioral therapy. Is how do you radically accept the reality, I can't afford a cat right now, and also nurture your emotional side. But kittens make me feel good. Right? These things are great. What is...
Hello, brother Adansky. Good to see you, my friend. if I were to have my keyboard unmuted, oftentimes the cats are walking on said keyboard, so they serenade from time to time. So it's currently muted, so that can't happen. But Anti has been present when it has happened in the past.
Oh.
I got my brand new
Piano playing kitten was the harbinger of the apocalypse. Well, you know,
You like this one?
all these things. Okay, so there's like the thesis and the antithesis and the synthesis. This idea of emotional brain, logical brain. Together, they create wise brain. Wise brain is not the sum of its parts. It is a whole new thing. It is bigger. It is better. It is beautiful. It's a good way to use your
common sense on steroids.
I think so. And what is common sense for you is not going to be common sense for me because I would have picked puppies, and that's that.
That's why the common sense thing is just it. It's not a specific thing. It's different for everyone.
No such thing as common
just
sense.
Like truth can be different for everyone.
Exactly. Okay. So, the second core concept of dialectical theory is the unity of opposites. The idea that seemingly contradictory forces are interconnected to contribute to a larger whole. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, again, the wise brain, that dichotomy, like, kind of pulls in this idea. You know, it's not this or that. It is this and that. Even though they contradict, we are still interconnected. It is not right wing or left wing. We have to find a place where these contradictory forces are interconnected and can contribute to the better whole of our society. That is a goal that we should have. Same in our judicial system. Same with our.
I agree.
System. All of.
I think the only place
to be incorporated better.
Yeah, and I think the only place in my life that I put that in place was in my work.
Explain.
I would. You meet a lot of different kinds of people from a lot of different kinds of places in a lot of different situations. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them tragic. And who I am and how I use my wise mind has to change every time I meet a new customer with a new situation. So I have to reevaluate all the same factors again that I just did with the previous customer to come to a new conclusion.
Okay.
But I never applied that. But I never exercised that in my day-to-day personal life.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that was the dichotomy of my existence. I had the tools and the skills to do what needed to be done, but I didn't know how to apply them to my non-work life. So doing things and talking about these things helps me to realize that. Just like you were talking earlier, we can reflect back and see, I did learn something.
Yeah. Well, and I think that for some reason it seems less messy to apply sort of good practices and states of being in a work environment because it feels more controlled and it's less personal to us in a lot of ways. Even though work is very personal to me and it was very personal to you.
I think when you love your job or you like what you do, it is personal. Yeah.
It's personal, but also those relationships are lower stakes.
Yes.
In a nuanced way. Like we think they're important, but they really, truly, at the core of it, are lower stakes than, say, a marriage or the relationship between a parent and a child.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Things, right? So, we kind of unconsciously understand this, that it's a lower stake, even though it's our work and it's our livelihood. We also know that there's other places like this place that we could work, that we can show our skills to, and it is like, intimately speaking, it's lower stakes, whereas these other relationships in our lives are higher stakes, the ones that are more intimate, whether we want to admit them being intimate or not. They're more entertaining.
That makes sense. Yes.
Okay, so change and development is another core concept. Dialectical philosophy often emphasizes the dynamic and ever-changing nature of reality. And we know that reality is ever-changing. Why? Because our perception of our reality is ever-changing, or it should be, in order to be able to live a more useful, or to have a more useful experience of our lives. Because what we focus on, like, what is it? Attention, energy goes where energy flows where attention goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're paying attention to is where all of our energy is going to. And we can change what we're paying attention to, which therefore changes the nature of our realities.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing because he's paused the concert. And when it comes back, I will reshare it because it's just him and Mark talking now.
Okay, okay, we'll do that, which is fine because we're getting into
they'll come back.
They're
just taking a break at their same break in the concert now. So anyway,
yes. We will bring the concert. We were playing. For those of you who don't know, if you scroll back up through, you can find the link. Go
I'll
check it out.
just put the link in the chat again.
Yeah, watch the entire concert. That Valkyrie went on a adventure this weekend. He got to see a live show. We were playing that in the background because it was just good jams, playing some great covers that we all like.
Yeah. Got to spend time with friends. It's a fantastic weekend. Kind of why we're on the subject that we were on. Last week, we talked about different versions of truth and how changing in people's lives and on and on. Go back and check it out. It's a good conversation. This week, we're just kind of continuing that same thing with the examples that we have of how that can be applied to anyone's life. Whether or not you apply it or try or even want to is up to you.
Yeah, always up to you. It's always up to you. However, I think you should do it. However, do it. Change your perception. Yeah. Change your perception. Play in that reality. See how that feels. Then change it again. Why? Because it's
on the
more
subject
fun that
of
way.
change.
It's more fun. It's more fun.
Yep. On the subject of change, I have always had the philosophy of the only definition that never changes is that everything will change.
Yeah. The only question
it doesn't matter if you see it change in your lifetime or not. It will change.
Are you steering the ship of change or are you riding the waves? You get to decide that too. And like we started this conversation, both are useful. Sometimes riding the waves is great. And sometimes it is necessary.
Absolutely true, Jimmy C. And welcome.
Also, change is scary, but it's always changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't escape that, and we are very much creatures of habits as humans. Most humans don't like big changes often. Also. Usually big changes are scary. Buying a house, buying your first car, buying your last car. These are things, all these things can be where am I going to go on vacation? What am I going to do when I retire? All these things can be wonderful things, but scary at the same time. Yes, I do believe that is true because it has already been shown.
Mutate in place of
that
change.
Language is constantly evolving and changing, and that is because we use slang terms and speak in shortened meanings. So yes, I actually do believe
in human
that
design we call that
change
mutation.
Change.
Change. They don't use the word change in human design. They use the word mutate.
No, these are great questions. These
lexicons are things.
I love this. I love this interaction. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. So do you direct your change? Do you ride the waves of change? The change is always constant. Sometimes you can interchange the word change with mutate, and we are moving through this at record speed. Y'all are gonna have to listen to it twice.
It's a good conversation. It's a great conversation, and that's kind of why I agreed with you on just rolling with this. This is
I
good.
mean, yeah, you brought it up, and I just said, and yes. And yes. So change and development, the dynamic and ever-changing nature of reality. You can, we talked about what is true. People who say you can't change reality, well, false, because even the sky is blue is debatable in a lot of ways, depending on
Sure.
where you're sitting in the world in that moment. And the sky is not always blue, and things are not always good. But just because they're not good doesn't make them bad. And just because they're bad doesn't mean that.
No, Robbie, but I can
Like,
break a 50.
You can't just the power of positive thinking your way out of. Because sometimes things just happen. There's horrible things that happen in this world, and you can't just Oprah your way out of it, right? You can't just The Secret your way through it and into wealth.
Indeed, Auntie.
In spite of the terrible things that are happening in the world, because terrible things happen to people all the time, and we
Every day.
have to be cognizant enough to not only change our mental reality, but also use that strength from reorienting our perspective in a way that feels
I still
more
like
useful
that
to us.
unword. I still like it better. Sorry. I had to say it.
Orientation. Once we orient our mind to things that are more useful, then we have to orient our actions to things that are more useful, to actually change things that are terrible for people to things that are better. Why? Because it's our responsibility to the human race. And even if that is one person, one cat at a time, we will do so. We should do so.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just ourselves, even if we're just making ourselves better, because we bring with us our ancestors, our followed generations, and all the people that, or the people around us, if you decide not to have kids, because having kids is not necessary in order to create a world that exists beyond our existence, right? Okay. Which leads us right to the fourth core concept of dialectical philosophy, and that is a key distinction in dialectical thought, with materialism emphasizing the material world and idealism focusing on the role of ideas. So, dialectical thought is this juxtaposition of material versus ideal. And I think, as I just said, both and, right? You've got to focus on the ideas to help influence your material world, and your material world likewise influences your ideas and your idealisms, right?
That's how I'm living my life right now. That's a definition of me saying I'm going to live my life intentionally is what you just described.
Yeah, it's balancing the ideologies with the materialism. You have to have both.
Yeah.
Diabolical? No, dialectical. But also
my answer previously was just kind of pick world events and politics. My answer previously was to just bury my head in the sand. It's not my problem. I can't do anything about it anyway. Nobody gives a shit what I think.
Do I have to let it influence my anxieties? No, I don't actually have to do that either. I can say that is not a problem that is useful for me to try to fix right now. But
exactly. And that's the difference in how one thinks about it. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I don't understand, Auntie.
I was trying to get that, Auntie, and then you retracted it. Ugh! I only got 4 words.
Can you some focus on band roll on other changing clothes? I feel like there's something deep here, or maybe it's a joke, and I can't.
I'm trying to.
Because
it is.
My brain is going in 4 different directions. I'm like,
it's a dichotomous statement. It's a because.
Explain it to me, Richard.
I'm not sure I'm there yet either, but I see the duplicity. Band roll on.
Deodorant.
Focus on the band roll on as they're changing clothes. Which one's more important? Band roll on or clothes? You try and do them at the same time.
Well, I don't like roll-ons because they tend to be messy and sticky.
Oh my God, you're not even on point. That was so bad.
I'm nowhere near it. That's why I'm like,
I tried to help. I guess you should just explain it to her, Auntie. You've had to do this to me too. You've had to explain it. I just am not.
I'm sure it's genius.
Oh, it is. It always is. I love it. That's why Auntie is one of my favorite human beings.
I know. And I'm just like...
It'll probably pop up in there sooner or later.
I hate that I didn't just get it. Because
I do the same. I do the
pride
same. He sent me an email
getting
once
these
that had something, akin to that subject, not the same subject matter, but it was like that. And I had to say, sorry, Andy, I'm not getting it. You guys explain it to me.
Do some explaining. Do some explaining. No, I like the core of me doesn't want to admit that I don't understand because I feel like I should. I feel
Well, that's
like
that whole pride thing, like I had wrapped up
really
in my
relevant
job.
to what we're talking about, but also I don't see how, and I want to know how.
Yeah.
So while we wait for Auntie to bang that out in detail. There to there, hence the delete. There to there. Okay, so now we understand why something was deleted. I'm just looking at the StreamYard chat, so I didn't see the deletion, so I'm not stuck up on that.
My right guard took a left.
Jimmy C. Jimmy C.
We got the best audience in the world.
We
got the best audience in the world. You guys are awesome.
I'm about ready to throw a link down there and bring them all up here. Let's just bring them all up here.
Oh my goodness! Here, I'm gonna reshare.
Just
gonna reshare because the second set's going.
Okay.
So there, share we go, and then you can just. There you go.
And yet,
so I got to bring the volume up just a little bit. There we go.
The deodorant talk continues.
Yep.
It continues.
Well, that's part of that's part of what makes this fun and interesting is that we don't just drone on.
I mean, sometimes I can. Trust me, I have recordings of talking to an hour to myself.
Yeah. I mean, look at how much we've talked about in this episode alone, and we're only 47 minutes in.
We are. You have
this
to
has been an incredibly good episode. So
I'm really
if you're behind and you don't know and you're watching this replay, go back and watch last week's program.
Just all.
Watch them all. She's better than me. But at least go back and watch because it'll put a lot more of what we're talking about right now in context as to how this started. Because last week was kind of the beginning of this side quest. And as Keri said just a little bit ago, we are going to follow this side quest through to its conclusion.
Yeah, because you can't just... It's a side quest. Otherwise, it'd just be a side... It's a quest. Quests imply multiple parts. In case you're wondering what the sound is in the background, we have behind us over at... and Falco dropped the link.
Yep, I'm dropping it again now just because you're...
I was going to say, that's the wrong link.
Talking about it.
Drop it again.
Don't know what link I did, so I'm copy and pasting now from where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so we're listening to the live concert that Falco went to that is being played on Set Up by Marshall's channel currently.
I encourage everyone to go and watch there. It's better than our background stuff because we're not talking over it. It is his band, Some People, S-U-M People, Some People. They are fantastic. You're missing out if you're not listening.
They've played
They're a cover band, but they've got their own flavor on it.
Spin on it. They put their own spin on it. They played some Dirty Heads, which I love. They played some other stuff that was great.
They've got everything from Santeria to Dirty Heads and everything in between. Yeah.
What was the song that you said was your secret? Because you were metal. We learned about Richard at the beginning of this show. So back up and watch the beginning of this show. But,
God, that was so many things ago.
I know it was so many things ago, but you were a metalhead and you had a secret love for this song.
Yeah. It was my
secret. Kicked off our show with, and
I guess you should go back and watch again because I forgot.
The world.
Yes.
Progressive music was not cool amongst the metalheads.
Yes, it was not. It was not. You were a sellout if you listen like that stuff. My disco that I listened to.
Well, that wasn't disco, but anyway.
Secretly in my room.
But anyway.
In my room. In my room.
Also a good song.
Yes. I know I just gave everybody an earworm. Sorry, not sorry.
Anyways. Okay, so we were talking about therapy,
fourth.
but also we're talking about philosophy, and I think that
Yes.
I have this like, and it's this YouTube philosophy 101, the dialectic. This YouTube channel, Julian de Medeiros. I can't with words, especially Spanish words are exceptionally hard for my mouth to put around. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it caught my eye, because it said learn the concept of dialectic, which problematizes which binary opposites, and I was like, problematizes?
Everything about this subject got to be a mouthful of words. Wow. I'm just.
Yes. But also, isn't problematizes just fun? It's just fun. That's almost as much fun as my side questiating. Except I think problematizes might be a real word, and side questiating is definitely not. Definitely.
Tune in next week when we're talking about where am I going and why do I care?
Doesn't matter.
Sorry, we're kind of digressing now, but it's been such a great show. I'm almost high just from our conversation. This has been fantastic.
Well, like I said, my daughter is in this IOP program, this intensive outpatient for her mental health, and she has given me permission to kind of tell her story. So she had, the week that we had missed, she had put herself into a behavioral therapy center, so an inpatient situation. She was there for about 7 days, and we're starting this. She was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which was really, like, even for somebody as open-minded as me, it was really a hard thing to hear, because for so many reasons. Because when you hear borderline personality disorder, you think like there's something wrong with their personality, like, and it's somehow it's like this. It's just everything. Like, diagnosticians in mental health they're the worst at naming shit. But really what it is she has this like, kind of identity misconception, and she's not really sure how to identify herself, and that comes out in these very fast emotional waves. She can go from happy to angry to mean to sad, like a drop of the dime. And it's not like bipolar where you have these really distinct swings from manic to depressive. It is all the emotions very quickly. And then learning about it, I learned that inside of her head, she could see herself with these emotional swaps, but could not quite. No, it's not the same as dissociative identity disorder, which is the multiple personalities, which is Sybil, Jimmy C. But thank you for pointing that out. It is emotionally based and not like personality based, because this DID is about having multiple personalities, multiple types of people. Keri stabs herself in the eye. She has a hard time solidifying her own sense of self. So, and that is very emotional state to be in, if you can imagine. But then also her logical brain can see herself having these mood swings. And we've approached it from all these different things. We've really looked into like her physical health. Like, is there a hormonal imbalance? Is there a thyroid issue? Is there some of these things, right?
Yeah.
And being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, because it's kind of one of these disorders that is very comorbid with other things, anxiety, depression, her OCD, her ADHD, possibly autism.
I went through similar testing when I got my
suck, right?
Suck.
But what she got out of it is, sure, she got this diagnosis, but because she got this diagnosis, we were exposed to this dialectical therapy, which is this idea of something that I think everybody should. I mean, in my mind, it's common sense that things that are opposing can also both be true. But this is a workbook that actually helps. That would
be a good one to screen, Auntie. Agreed.
Helps her actually isolate these things and then deconstruct them so that she can see how both things are true. That she can feel like she's being abandoned, and also I'm going to come back after I do X, Y, Z. Both things can be true. She can feel this way.
Yep.
And also,
my daughter struggled with some OCD and stuff when she was young as well.
It's not factually true. And actually, young OCD sometimes has to do with strep. in the blood. But that's a whole nother digression for a whole nother day.
Yeah, whole other thing. But nonetheless, my daughter had to deal with it. And oddly enough, I also deal with mental illness. And I hate the stigma attached to it. I hate the stigma attached to it.
However, everybody says, I wish I had a touch of the OCD. Not one person says, I wish I had a touch of borderline personality disorder. Not one person.
This is true.
Like the OCD was a lot easier for us to accept and to try to work even with it, even though it's harder to work with. In a lot of ways, it is. Everybody wants a touch of the OCD. It's such an interesting like stigma in our social reality, right?
Well, mental illness in general, it's people do everything to avoid contact with others regarding their mental illness because it's such a suddenly you're defective. You don't have a sickness to treat like a flu or a cold or anything else. You are suddenly marked as a defective human being.
And somehow in my mind of all the defectiveness, like it was even my initial reaction to borderline personality disorder was that, oh, that's the worst of the defectiveness. Like ADHD, like all these other things, autism. Sure, my daughter has some autism. Right. That's fine too. I can accept that. I don't want to try to cure it. OCD, like
so many differences between the spectrum of low and high on the autism scale.
And even I went with borderline personality disorder. I went,
right?
You know, like that seems bad.
So we all, which is a good example of we all have our own woe point. In any subject matter, even subject matter that we're familiar with.
Right. And also like people, she's on some new medications. So she was taking the gabapentin for her fibromyalgia, and that was helping some with the anxiety. But now she is on Abilify and Seroquel. And the Seroquel she just takes occasionally if she needs it for sleep. But Abilify seems to be really helping,
awesome.
Yeah, but she has like previously taking like I think it's SSRIs like for depression and anxiety, and they really didn't work well with her.
Right, that's currently what I take. Yeah,
and these are different class that is actually helping her a lot to the point where like this morning, like I made her something to eat, and I kind of like was distracted by something, and so I just defaulted and I put it together on the plate as if I were eating it, which was like everything kind of mixed together with some sauce over the top because I just get it in my face, right? And she was just like, okay, and I could see her sit there and struggle with it because like this doesn't work for her, right? And she, like Abby of old, not on those medications, would have lost her shit immediately. She was like, I'll eat it. And I saw the look on her face. I was like, nope. I made it because I was hungry and I made it the way that I wanted to eat it. And so therefore, like, I'm going to eat that and I'm going to make you the one where the stuff is separate. And people might think, why are you coddling your 22-year-old like this? Listen.
That's not coddling. That's a whole different subject. Yeah.
We are working on healing and we are working on figuring things out. And the fact that she was like, okay, actually says a lot about her recovery. And you know what else is really funny is after I said that I would make her do it, she lost her shit and started crying. Why would you?
But in a good way, because
Nope. She just went right into her old mood swing, and this is what I said to her.
Okay.
Hear me out.
Okay.
She went into her old mood swing, and she's like sitting. I could hear her crying as I'm fixing it. I'm like, Abby, your brain just be braining. That is how you used to act. And for a split second, you were like, okay, and ready to like take on this challenge of eating this bowl of food that you were very unhappy with. And you accepted that. But then your brain was like, but also we've always reacted in this way where you threw a big fit in order to get it the way that you wanted it. So like you had this moment where you were like in this space of like being able to be in your wise mind of like, this doesn't mean anything about me. This does not mean anything about my mom that she made this like this. This is just something that has happened and I'm going to figure out how to deal with it. But also, me being a human, I saw that and realized that I had done something that was just defaulting to the way I wanted to eat it, so I made it correctly. And your brain just went, I always threw a fit about this before, so I'm going to throw a fit about this now. And that's why you're being really emotional right now. And she was like, oh. Because she was like, everything's lost. All my therapy on nothing. I'm going backwards. Nothing's going to help. I'm going to be like this forever, right? And I was like, no. You're not going to be like this forever because you had that 15 seconds.
There's already a difference. There's already a difference.
There's already a difference. So I don't know if any of that made sense. Maybe you had to be
It
there
did,
to
absolutely, to me.
But this is what borderline personality disorder is. She made me making it wrong means something about her and how I felt about her, and that I was somehow abandoning her. Why? Because she has it is a brain. What is the word I'm looking for? Give me a second. It is distortion. She has a distortion in her thinking that affects her and comes out in
That's
an
a good
emotional
description.
way. Is distortion. Okay, and so for a moment.
By the way, we just hit the hour mark.
Yes, and she slipped back into her distortion. Why? Because brains are predictors. This time I tie it back to all of our previous episodes. Brains are predictors.
Go watch
Brains
them.
are predictors, and her brain was predicting that she would have her needs taken care of if she reacted in this way. So she had this gap, this moment where she didn't react how she usually reacted, but then her brain defaulted back because her brain predicted that if I behave like this, I will have my needs taken care of. Because how do I know this? Because that's how I've always done it.
Right.
And so it was literally like more of a physical response than it was like a conscious response. And once I explained that to her, like, I'm not mad. I expected that to happen, and not because there's something wrong with you or that's just the way you are, but because I saw you had like this shift. Then I realized, like, actually I'm hungry, which is why I made it the way that I like to eat things. And then also, like, just let me get you a new one and it's fine. And also it makes sense that you're upset because that is how your brain works, and that is how it has worked, and you have survived this far with your brain working like that. So that is how your brain will default, and that's okay too. So that was kind of like, this is the journey that we are on together. This is the journey that we're on together. And she's very excited to go through this healing journey. And just before I got on here, I was able to be in a group of, well, I was the only person who showed up to the group, which made me very happy, mind you. But talking about like getting, it's a support group for, you know, loved ones of people who are in this program. And so, really, I was riding that high, and then we came in here, and then we rocked out, and then that was my whole point. Full circle. That's why I feel like I'm high right now, because it was so much fun to just kind of go on this journey, to share that with you, to pop in here, to listen to some good music with Richard in the backstage before we went live. And finally, I was just like, we're just going to go live, and we're going to keep playing the good music, and we're going to have this conversation. And Richard, thank you for being here. I appreciate you as a co-host, as always. Yeah. You know, this is a journey. This is a journey, and my daughter says that she wants to get to a point where she is able to get onto these live streams, and we can have a conversation.
That's a huge goal, boy.
Because our goal is to be able to share our journey, to be able to help other people with the journey, because it's all important. It's all important.
And that fits into what we're trying to do here. Remember, I'm doing this for the first time, and Keri is helping me navigate.
I'm doing it for the first time too in a lot of ways, though. I mean, like,
no, you're helping me navigate. You're kind of doing for the first time, but you've already done a lot of navigating on your own, and I'm just beginning my navigation. I'm just being fair here, Keri. Okay. So just being fair. She's a pretty good guide.
Yeah, I minimize it, but you're right. I have put a lot of the work in.
That's why I got after you, because you minimized instead of saying thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for allowing me to use you as a guinea pig when it comes to teaching things that I've learned in a way that makes me feel fulfilled, because this is really an outlet. When I think about my toolbox and my outlets and places where I feel like I can be the most authentically myself, this is one of those spaces. And if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to express these thoughts and these things without a very good co-host. Kat says it's time.
Appreciate
it's
that.
Over.
Yep. Kat says it's time to end the stream. Better start playing that
y'all.
outro. Thank you, everyone in chat. We love you.
I have to find the outro. Okay.
Oh no.
Keep yapping.
I'm not. Just keep it. I was ready to stop sharing.
Oh no. I was gonna stop sharing because I have to find the video file. Hold on for this. Hold on for the outro, y'all.
Follow the link in the chat.
You follow the link in the chat. Head back over to Set Up by Marshall. Check out the check it out, see what happens.
The live
over
concert
there.
from Wallawa Lake.
A live
on Saturday.
recording of a live. Anyway.
Yeah, recording. It is not live
The
today.
night says hello with the soft glow.
Yeah,
We
but there's the
took a
outro,
ride on
y'all.
this talk
Thank you all
show.
for being here. I appreciate you
Stories
guys
shared and
so
secrets
much.
low.
Thank you for all the
Time
laughs and the good
linger, but
times.
we gotta go.
Richard, till next
Voices
week.
faded with the moon's
Chat,
call.
till next week. Thank you for
Laughter
joining us,
echoed
y'all.
down the hall.
Mwah.
Thoughts that flew like paper dolls. Wrap it up and let it fall. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. We signed in with open minds. Now we drift on the book of fine. Page by page until we bind. Sweet goodbyes, let's unwind.